morning, everybody. Good morning, good morning. Hope you're all doing well. Let me check the chat in here, see where we're at. If you can like the video, I'd appreciate it. If I go Oki, John, Avero Accidental, Tom, Rain, Algo Trading, Nico, Cloud Business, Crazy Eddie, Berto, T-Man, Maddie, Big Rollout, Marco, Igor, Romer. What's up, everybody? Hope you're doing well. Let me look at a few of the questions in here. Oh, it's not even really questions. Yeah, let's go. If you guys can like the video, I know it's very repetitive, but it does mean a lot because it's going to get pushed out to the YouTube algorithm recommendation, whatever you want to call it. Man, you know how crazy living in Illinois is? Yesterday was 74 degrees, and the day before was 74 degrees, which is unheard of in February. Now today, it is snowing. How does that make any sense? I don't get it. But if you are doing caps, okay, I got your business. Yeah, if you do caps, my Nightbot unfortunately takes out the message. Shay, good morning. Good to see you in here. Evelyn. Natalia. A few ladies in here. Very good to see. Nico, you got jokes. Just give me 1 second here and I'll get started. I'm just trying to get some music, to be honest with you. Again, I'm not in a rush. I mean, if you're looking at the charts currently, I'm not in a rush to do anything. I think I say that almost every day. But you've seen that pay off the last 2 days. So hopefully you guys have been enjoying at least the last 2 days. I've gotten a lot of questions over people asking me, you know, following the session, people will either tweet at me, message me, you know, hey man, you know, I was in the session trading wise and I messed up. I did a bunch of trading and, you know, I messed myself up. It's like, well, I get it, but if you're not listening to what I'm saying, obviously you're going to have to learn the hard way. So please listen to what I'm saying. The last 2 days, I mean, I couldn't have annotated that any better. I'm going to put the charts on the screen here. Let me know if you can see them in a second. Yes? Okay. Cool. I actually need to put a couple charts on my monitors real quick. Got to put up the SMT chart. Hello, hello. If you're just tuning in, please like the video. So let's go out to our higher time frame here, just get a view of what's going on. Daily time frame is still unclear. I mentioned this before, even coming into the weekly time or weekly forecast. It's probably going to be a little bit more difficult to get a understanding of what price wants to do this week. We're still inside of this inefficiency here, so we could react off of it. We could gravitate higher. We have buy side liquidity above us on those lower time frames from yesterday and even the day before, so those could be used as a draw on liquidity today. Could potentially get left. I don't know. We'll have to see how the session unfolds. As currently as it stands, I mean, it's still pretty low probability. I'm not really fond of anything currently. So on the 4 hour, sitting inside of this inversion with buy side here. So once I drop down to the 1 hour, you'll see it pretty clearly, but relative equal highs there. It doesn't mean that price has to gravitate towards it. It could, but it could also be left for a later point in time. So I'm being wary of that. The reason I say that is because we've dropped down once. Yesterday we rallied higher, left the buy side, dropped down again overnight. It could drop off lower, just leaving the buy side for another point in time. And how would I know that? Well, I would have to see through confluences and some other things that price would want to just leave that. Same thing as like when Friday I took the trade with buy side above us, everybody was worried about it. But if I have a clear understanding that price may want to leave it, then I could go short. If we start to get higher prices, then of course these are really easy low-hanging fruit targets, meaning that it's super clean. Those are really clean relative equal highs. That's, I would not feel comfortable putting my stop loss there. So if price does gravitate higher today, I mean, that would be an overall draw on liquidity. That would be super easy. But if we start to drop off lower, then I would elect to believe that's going to be left, and we would head for the inefficiencies or imbalances annotated below. So this inefficiency there and that one there. So I'll just have to see the time on what we're doing. I go down to lower time frames in here. This is a bare naked chart. If you put the new week opening gap, respected that with the news event driver that we had. Really didn't provide much information, to be honest with you. I was expecting a little bit more volatility out of it, but we didn't get it. So we'll see what today plays out like. It should be interesting, to be honest with you. I mean, if I have to set out another day, I don't particularly really care. Like, the level of patience that I have is forged through years of understanding that it's better to be on the sidelines because it's making me money. Like, it's a hard concept to understand that when you're sitting on the sidelines, you feel like you're not doing anything. You feel like you're not making progress. You feel like, you're stupid for doing it. But it's a very common quote. If you sit on your hands, you're going to end up making money because you're not participating. You're not risking anything. But you start to doubt yourself, especially over time. You wait, 1, 2, 3, 4 days for a trade to set up to form. You feel like your competence or your skill set is not there because you shouldn't. That doesn't feel right. It doesn't feel like you should be waiting that long. But it's normal. It's normal to wait that long if the conditions are not right. Once you get more experience, like I am, it's normal for me to wait 1, 2, maybe 3 days out of the week. And if I don't do anything, then it is what it is. I can't force price to move. I can't force my setup. I can't force the conditions I want to be in. So I have to elect to submit, to surrender to the market. It's a very much, hierarchy power. I surrender to the market. I am at will to the market. Once you understand that, everything becomes easier. Once you believe that you can just arm wrestle the market, you're the one in control, and you're not. So hopefully that makes sense. As far as today, I'm going to be just seeing what price looks like as we roll into the silver bullet. Currently, this is no man's land. I mean, I could see it going lower. I could see it going higher. Why could I see it going lower? Well, we've dropped down. We made a new low. If you look at like a 30-minute time frame, 1 hour, this is technically a mitigation block. So we're rejecting off of that. There's really no clean PD raise in here. It could just drift off lower again. On the flip side, we've taken out sell side. Price could rally higher to gravitate towards the buy side. So there's a huge distance between where current price is at to the overall draw on liquidity. So I'm not trying to be a smart guy. I'm not trying to be an all-star and try to pick a bottom in here and try to get the best risk to reward to target the buy side when I could just wait and see a displacement, something to confirm to me that price would want to gravitate higher, print my entry pattern, and then I enter into the market. That is the best case scenario where I'm saving myself mental capital, real capital. I mean, you've seen me do this plenty of times. So for those who are seasoned here, you understand what I'm saying. But hopefully it makes sense. As far as what I'm looking at, I mean, if we drop off lower, I will see if I can continue with shorts. Vice versa, if we displace higher, then I'll just look for the overall draw on liquidity, which is higher. As far as SMT and what I'm seeing there, we just opened up, so just annotate that real quick. And the 5 minutes, it's kind of messy. But let's say we do displace higher today and we want to gravitate towards the buy side liquidity. Everything from the left side is just going to be extended out to the right, and we'll utilize that. So you can see in here, the delivery is not beautiful currently. I'm trying to annotate in here. So that's our inversion there. Buy side liquidity here. And then everything from the left side, even whatever chart you're on, 15-minute, 5-minute, you're just going to extend it to your right. And that's if we gravitate higher. So we'd either utilize that, as the basically inversion levels. But we'll see if price even wants to gravitate higher. If we start dropping off lower, then I may have to get in sync with that overall idea. I forgot to mention in here, I believe I got to pull up on my computer. Dollar index, let me take a look at it. Started to displace higher overnight, so that's pretty interesting. If that does carry on with that overall analysis of higher dollar, then I would have to be weary of pushing a higher NQ. So just keep that in the back of your mind, is dollar index. I'm going to try not to forget it today. What would you use for a lower target if we do want to go lower? Any inefficiencies, like again on the 1 hour I was annotating, is I don't have it on this chart, it's actually on this one. These inefficiencies in here, you can even look at the old inversion that we had. Old new week opening gaps you can utilize as a overall draw on liquidity. And why would I be comfortable with the buy side being left? Well, if you've had a higher time frame buy side liquidity raid like we've had here, at times, especially if there's SMT as well, the buy side liquidity can be left for whatever other point in time. So if you're fearful of shorting because of that idea, you just have to understand that if you look at last week on Friday, we've had that higher time frame buy side liquidity raid. There's SMT, and then we could just drop off lower, leaving the buy side. Excuse me, my voice is a little scratchy today. Overall, I would much prefer to go for longs in here just because the targets are cleaner, but it is what it is. I can't really predict that. Thank you, Tal. Yeah, if you haven't already, like the video real quick. So on a 15-minute, if we start to drop off lower in here, I'm going to a 15-minute chart and I'm looking at this inefficiency here. Let's see if we want to trade down into that. And I'm sure somebody has a question, if we drop beneath the sell side here, would I expect a higher price again? No, because in here, when price dropped beneath the sell side, should at least rally toward the buy side. And especially in here, after this happened, typically, if you're taking out sell side again, that's probably a shift in market structure versus a raid on liquidity. Like in here, it should, if it's bullish, it should displace towards the buy side rather than displacing underneath this low again. To me, that would just be the market just shifting, not necessarily a raid. So just keep a close eye on this and see. By the time we roll into the silver bullet, what does price look like? I'm not too concerned on a bias currently until we roll into silver bullet. Does the mean threshold of last weekly down close candle mean anything to you? If we closed above it, it would have been a bullish order block, but otherwise it's kind of meaningless. This down close candle, I'm not going to annotate it, it's just too much on my chart, but that technically is a bullish order block, right? We've taken out buy side right with this news event driver there, but those are relatively clean. They're close in proximity, so I would be looking at that high there if we can gravitate higher. And I'm not trying to do anything. Look at the 1 minute. Is this something that you would want to be a part of? I personally wouldn't. I mean, think about the range that price is kept in. This is pretty nasty. So there's times when I'm not even looking at a 1 minute. You've seen it over the last few weeks. Like, the price just does not look right to me. Like, it's very choppy, range bound. I'm not even going down to a 1 minute because it's useless. I can't really utilize it. So especially when the 5 minute looks like a barcode, it's just back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. I mean, the 1 minute's going to be disgusting. So Program FX, that's a new name in here, but I appreciate that comment because I would have forgot. Thank you very much. Beautiful, beautiful. So RTH gap in here. The fact that we open lower, especially with the bias of buy side liquidity above us, it's a decent drawn liquidity narrative RTH gap, you could say. So anytime I have an RTH gap that's in confluence with like my drawn liquidity or overall bias, it's really good. So either today we're going to fill in 50% of the RTH gap, or we're going to fully close in this whole thing. If price gets animated, meaning like it really moves higher quickly into those buy side liquidity pools, then I would look for this entire RTH gap to get filled. But can't be overzealous. Take it step by step. If price wants to only dig into the 50% of it, then allow it to. So that's the entirety of the RTH gap in here. I'm going to move it to the right. It's a very large RTH gap, but overall, the buy side liquidity is up here, so it's above the RTH gap. It's pretty decent. Let's just say on the flip side, on a bearish analysis, you could fill in 25-50% of the RTH gap, and then price could drop off lower. That could be a possibility. It could not even want to go up to 25/50 and drop off. It could just do what we're doing now and sell off. So if I'm going to look for very confident higher prices today, I would rather this low be kept intact and we rally higher. That would be the preferred, but being right or wrong on analysis, especially like I had this comment yesterday on one of my videos last night, like commenting on me being right or wrong and me being incorrect on some analysis overnight on data logs and stuff like that. And I didn't really want to attack the person. I just wanted them to understand that being right or wrong on analysis means nothing. You could be right on analysis but still take a loss. You could be wrong on analysis but still take a win. So I wouldn't put so much emphasis on being right or wrong, like, oh, I called this level, I called that. And especially overnight with daily logs, like, it's overnight, so much can change. I mean, I wouldn't really judge what I'm saying in a daily log compared to a live session. So I just found that interesting. Do you see the 4-hour OB on ES, or am I incorrect? I mean, I see it, but for a PD array to be valid, it has to be in line with whatever the narrative is. If the narrative ends up being bullish, it's going to run over the 4-hour bearish order block. It doesn't matter what's standing in the way. It's going to run over it. Okay, love to hear that. How are you enjoying live streaming? It's all right. I mean, I enjoy it, but there's times where I don't. So, would you want to be participating inside of this range here? I know I really wouldn't. It's not clear. Like, that's a very, even for a newer student, I think that's, if you've had a little bit of time underneath your belt, I think that's a decent range to identify, to be like, yeah, I don't want to trade in that. So you need to identify something like this and compare it to yesterday and even Monday. Those type of ranges, it's just, to me, it's super easy to identify and be like, yeah, I don't want to participate in that. And trying to make a decision in here is, to me, it's gambling. Either we're going higher or we're going lower. To me, I don't particularly care. I just wait until time does the work for me. Once time rolls around, I guarantee you by silver bullet, watch it 20 minutes here. By the silver bullet, I guarantee you there's some clear direction. So if you let time do the work for you instead of trying to push time, push price, you're going to have a lot easier time in this. Yeah, I know you guys are enjoying the live stream, which I appreciate it. I do enjoy live stream. I didn't mean that by any means. I do enjoy it. We'll let Manny. Yeah, the stream's useless. Stupid. I wonder how that guy panned out yesterday after he told me my stream was useless. I wonder how well he did on the day. How do you add the eye icons? You have to copy and paste from like a emoji. So go to like Twitter or wherever, iMessage, put an eye like emoji, and then copy and paste it into the text box. What's up, Casper? I'm doing well, brother. Thank you for asking. I remember watching ICT talk about the daily candle taking out the low and the high of the previous day, and it will result consolidation. Yeah, I talked about this last night in the daily log. It's called an outside day, outside week, even. All right, so look at the weekly time frame. What did we do last week? We took out the previous week high, and we took out the previous week low. That is called an outside candle. Outside day, if it's on a daily candle or daily, chart. Typically, that'll lead to consolidation, right? Because you're taking out buy side and sell side. You're taking out both sides of the board. So you have outside days and you have inside days. Inside days are where you're not taking out the previous week high or the previous week low. You're just residing inside of it, right? So those inside days will result in a very large movement the next day. Outside days are going to result inside of consolidation the following day. Especially if it's on the weekly time frame, you have to expect multiple days, right? Hopefully that answers your question, whoever asked that. NASDAQ Nomad, I appreciate that. This is off track. Do you watch Jinxie? Yeah, I'm aware of him. He is funny. He's blown up. Don't worry about the haters. Just want to say I enjoy your streams every day and thank you for spreading knowledge. Yeah, of course. Thank you. Thank you for teaching here. It's amazing. Do you have any videos on checklists for Silver Bullet? I have a video labeled Charter Member Models. It's a decent checklist of what I look for overall every single day. But I can't compact it into a list. Like, you just have to sit with me for a while to start to get the grasp of what I look for. I mean, there's just common things I do look for. I can't sum it up. Why don't I turn on the magnet? Because I find it annoying at times. It'll gravitate and plot on lines I don't want it to. So let's see if we want to gravitate towards the sell side in here. I'm going to elect to believe that it's probably going to rally towards sell side. We still have 15 minutes till the silver bullet, so I'm not in a rush. Why does it say in data latency? I mean, the stream's good. I don't know why my other platform's not showing my chart. That's very strange. That's very strange. Hopefully that fixes. I don't know why that is. Ninja Trader went down too, really. Interesting. Yeah, like my platform's just not updating. Like it says data latency, but that only makes sense if the stream was getting, having bad connection, but it's good here, so hopefully that clears up, because wouldn't that be good? Let's see if we can trade down on the sell side here. Because obviously it's not willing to displace higher, so it's kind of my evidence towards that overall idea. If you look at the 15-minute time frame, it's inversion's no longer holding in there. Not that I really care. So, got to lean on the idea that probably wants to gravitate lower, and at least in the sell side there. We'll see where price wants to go beyond that after the silver bullet. If it reverts and goes higher, that's fine too. If it continues, that's also fine. You're also having issues with Quant Tower? Interesting. Must be the rush. Bro, Nico, you're hilarious. You make me laugh, which is good. Bobby Weirdick. Thank you. What contract month? It's still on March. It's going to roll over here shortly. How do you add this extra candle? It's going to be the ICT higher time frame candle. Yeah, rain. I mean, that's like a similar question I got on my, not question, but comment. Last night you said you were looking for higher prices, but now I personally see bearish. Any thoughts? I mean, what did I just say? I was looking for sell side in here. So like, daily logs, they don't, as far as like me giving a bias or overall direction, it doesn't really mean much. Like so many things can change overnight. Like we had a massive drop lower overnight. I can't see that incoming. So when I come into the session, I can change my bias. It doesn't mean that I'm incorrect. I'm wrong as an analyst. Did I take a trade on it? No. As far as my thoughts, I mean, I've discussed it. If we run through the sell side in here, I'm going to have to determine and weigh the options and decisions to see, all right, do we continue lower? Do we continue drifting off lower? Can I trust going for another short? Because there's buy side above us. Is that going to be left for another point in time? I have to weigh the options and see to overall price action, because we could take out sell side in here and then revert. So I have to weigh the options and see if, if I'm going to be right on that. I don't personally feel any type of way about not taking a short in here, because really there wasn't many opportunities to even go short, nor is it in my time window to take a trade. So Will, I just forecast reality, my friend. What is Silver Bullet? Silver Bullet is a time window. See, there's like a different audience in here. There's a lot of different questions I'm getting today than usual. So if you go out to the 4 hour, you see, if you're just looking at structure and price, I believe we're going to want to leave that buy side there. Now I'm looking at it. It's, again, look at the structure. Can you just see price immediately reverting? Like, try to visualize that with actually like a realistic view and mindset. Can you just see the next hourly candle opening and just reverting back to the highs? No. Does that seem realistic? No. So I'm going to be electing to believe that we're going to look for lower prices throughout the session. How far can price reach into is the question. How far is the range today? That's the question I'm going to be asking myself. So at least as far as the dealing range, from the current dealing range, from that high, from the low to the high, equilibrium sits here. So I'm comfortable shorting anything in here down to that equilibrium. That's not a problem. Because why? Because we're inside of a premium. So I'm comfortable doing that. I don't really care. Isn't a FEG that forms within the 1 hour time window towards the current drawn liquidity? Isn't it? I mean, yes, but the way I view the silver bullet, I guess it's very contrarian to what everybody else does, I guess. But I just view the silver bullet as a good time to take a trade. Like, that's it for me. It is a strategy, it is a model, but I don't really find that model that well. Like, it's so vague. So all I do is I just know the silver bullet. I'm looking within that time window, because the first 30 minutes of the opening range can be sloppy majority of the time. So to me, it's just a little bit better to wait for the silver bullet. Again, what's the first element of ICT's concepts? It's time. Time takes the most importance out of everything else. So I would rather look at time and place myself in a good time. That way I'm putting the probabilities and the odds in my favor. So this inefficiency here on the 1 hour, it's like the first objective I'd at least look for price to trade into. And then this lower one that we discussed. I know I've been answering chat the last 2 days a lot and going over questions, but if I'm in a session where I need to have focus and maintain clarity, I'm not going to be looking at chat. So if you have questions, things that you actually really want me to answer, I'd wait towards the end of the session, and then I can go over that. If you're just tuning in, I appreciate it if you like the video. Yeah, let me see if my other platform is up now. It's interesting. I don't want to reload it, because last time I did that, I shut the stream down. So hopefully this just works. Yeah, it doesn't look like it. I'm not even getting... Oh, yeah, there. Well, that's going to be upsetting if I can't take a trade today due to this platform. I mean, I'll still take it on the stream if it's there, but the damn elites, Nico. So if you compare ES and NQ, NQ failed to make the lower low. It's struggling to drop lower. So if this thing ends up moving higher, I'm also okay with that. Like, switching your bias is not you being a wrong analyst. It's just you being a very good analyst. Being able to switch on a dime due to the current information, it's fine. Being right or wrong, as we discussed before, don't put so much emphasis on being right or wrong. Like, damn it, I was wrong, or damn it, I was, like, woohoo, I was right. Like, it doesn't mean anything. If you made money, that's at the end of the day, that's the final decision, the final, thing. You could be wrong on an analysis but still make money. You could be right on analysis but still lose money. So I don't put so much emphasis on it. Anybody telling you that switching a bias is wrong, even mid-session, even within 5 minutes. Like, if this thing starts to move higher, I'm going to switch my bias to look for buy side. I'm going to can the idea of lower prices. It's no longer valid. So like Bruce Lee said, be like water, be fluid. Be able to move back and forth with enough evidence. You have to change your bias with enough evidence and logic. There has to be something there clearly to identify and tell you that, okay, the bias I once thought was happening is no longer valid. So how do you know that? Well, if it's not respecting the areas, the PD arrays, and the things you were originally looking for, it's disrespecting them, and it starts to respect the other side, it's probably a pretty good indication that you were wrong. I say that tongue-in-cheek. And you could just switch. Like in here, if we start to disrespect the SIBI, I can see that we dropped down, we took out sell side, there's bullish SMT, buy side above us, then it would probably let me know that I was probably not wrong. I just simply looked at the other side and I said, all right, well, it's no longer respecting it. Let me get in line with what price is doing. That's a good analyst. That's where you're developing. If you can't do that yet, that just means you probably just don't have enough experience. Op Prime, it's AG FX watermark. Everybody on Ninja is frozen. Yeah, I mean, my platform, let me see if it's up now. Nope, still not up. I still can't even get to NQ. Well, if dollar index was in a clear direction today, it would help with the analysis per usual. I mean, it's been last few weeks with dollar index. Like I said, for those who haven't used dollar index and you're not used to using it, when it is clearly one-sided and it's in sync with NQ and the other index futures, man, it's so easy. It's such a good confluence. I absolutely love it. I mean, it makes trading so much easier because if dollar index is clearly tearing off higher and I'm a little uncertain with the NQ chart what it's doing, then I can lean on dollar index if it's tearing off higher. I can lean on the idea that this thing would move lower. If dollar index starts to move lower, then I could lean on the idea that this thing would move higher. But when it's doing nothing, it's kind of in a stalemate. I can't really lean on it. I have to just solely look at NQ and what it's doing. My music is a bit loud. I feel like I'm screaming. If this thing continues to drop off lower, then I just stick with the original idea, which is lower prices. It's not me being 50-50 and, like, it's just me being fluid. I'm open to the idea, and if I see something with enough concrete evidence, then I'll stick with that, you know, idea I was having. So we just moved into the silver bullet. So I want to see here what price is trying to reach for. 4-hour closure, I'm paying attention to the body and what we did in here. I'm going to annotate this inefficiency there. I lowered my music and changed the music actually, and that's a lot better. Sometimes you have to pay attention to the music you're listening to as well. It can affect your trading. I mean, if you don't listen to music, that's fine too. All right, I'm gonna shut down my platform. I'll reload it, but hopefully it doesn't. Sometimes when I do that, it messes up the stream. So hopefully it doesn't. Wish me luck. You trade with music on, yeah. What music you listen to? CJ 50 Cent? No, I just listen to, like, I guess you could call them binaural beats. Just something like that's chill with no words. All right, let's see if my platform's back up. Great. Yeah. Okay. What in the world is going on here? Oh. I know you listen to Limp Bizkit. Yes, I do. I I have such a wide variety of music. It's crazy. I mean, I'll listen to Slipknot, Disturbed when I'm in the gym, and then I'll listen to, like, country music or, like, even just chill music. Like, I don't have, like, a set personality on music. I listen to everything. I listen to rap, everything. All right, looks like my platform's back up, which is good. That's what I was concerned about. So you see how we're getting above the Sibian here? I'm not trying to pick a short in here. It doesn't really look optimal to do so. So if we get above this, turn and do an inversion, it may look for higher prices. So if you look, there's a decent amount of buy side above us on NQ. Look at pre-open. Look at this level here. That's pretty damn clean, right? So I would elect to believe that price would want to rally towards that. Yeah, I don't think music really determines your personality. I mean, I can listen to everything. Mud's pretty good. Do you consider the 15-minute? Yeah, I mean, I do consider that. ES has not made the lower low that YM and and Q have made. So I'm paying attention to that bullish divergence, and we have a lot of buy side above us, so I'd be fairly weary of trying to short today. Unless I get really clear evidence of lower prices, then I would do so. But I mean, think about all that, even this buy side liquidity level that's pretty near us. And then again, all of this buy side up here is, it's a pretty large liquidity pool above us. There you go. Yeah, I mean, if you're on here with a trade idea and I say something that's counter it, I mean, I wouldn't pay attention to what you see and you feel. And I mean, I wouldn't really even be trading on here with another live streamer. I just wouldn't be doing that. It's just not smart. Marco, I do have a video on like the beginners video as far as a live account, but each platform is going to be different. It depends on what broker you choose. Trade-Ovate, NinjaTrader, Rhythmic. I mean, they all have different, requirements and setups. Yeah, most definitely, Tom. You got to pick your shots carefully. You have to be very, very careful. It's the reason why I just don't push price. I only look for 1 hour at a time majority of the days that I trade within, and if I can't find it, then I don't do anything. Exposing yourself to this is, to too much time inside of these markets is going to cause you a lot of damage. So, I mean, when we move into spring, I would elect to believe price is going to open up and be a little bit more cleaner. Yeah, London's have been. I'm asleep. So there's pros and cons to whatever you're trading. I mean, there's going to be times where New York's super beautiful and London is not so much. So it's the same thing as a strategy. You can't trade everything. You can't be a part of every move. I mean, yeah, it's not ideal, but unless you're in a time zone where you're able to trade that and sit through it all, that's the only way. And I wouldn't want to be on the charts for that long. That's a long period of time. Yeah, most definitely. So I want to see here, excuse me, if we can get above the inversion or above the SIB being treated as inversion. If we do that, I'd be fairly confident that we'd want to gravitate at least to this premium SIBI and then to the buy side. I wouldn't feel comfortable if I was in a position. I wouldn't feel comfortable putting my stop loss here. This level's way too clean. We took out south side in here, so just looking at it, I think that'd be a decent bias to have. Five-minute time frame. Yeah, my voice. SIBI here. So that's the parent to the 1 minute. I would like to see particularly the 5 minute get above and create an inversion. Because there could be a 1 minute inversion, but a 5 minute SIBI, and the 5 minute SIBI gets respected because it's the parent, right? This is the child time frame. So waiting for this to become an inversion, you may miss an ideal entry, but it will protect you because there's no other higher SIBIs, right? So if it gets above this, closes above it in about, let's say, 15 seconds here, then that would confirm to me, all right, well, this time frame is now an inversion, the 1 minute's an inversion. So I would elect to believe that, yeah, we're probably going to look for higher prices at that point. I'm tired this morning. If you look, I'm just scanning through the time frames per usual. I'm constantly going back and forth through them, looking at it, seeing the closure, seeing where price is trading to. I mean, you don't see me on the other charts, but I'm looking at the SMT chart. I'm going through the time frames, looking at ES, how it's closed, where's this draw on liquidity compared to ES, or I'm sorry, NQ. So ES is moving higher, which is good. You want to see that. Same thing with YM. It's actually fairly in sync today for once. Would you consider the 15-minute inversion on the left? Not really. It's a little bit too old. I'd rather use something a little bit more fresh. Rusto, what's up, my brother? If we drop down into this inefficiency here, wouldn't be a terrible long. Again, I would, to really give me a lot of deal of confidence, is the 5-minute. If that turned into an inversion, that would be ideal. But sometimes the 1 minute will stab into an entry before this being an inversion, so you just have to weigh the options and see, all right, well, is this going to end up, if this drops into it before this closes, is this, going to end up being an inversion? You kind of have to weigh that. Was there any entries in here to go long? No. So I don't feel like I'm missing anything. Even if it ran off to the buy side, I mean, what can you do? Yeah, I'm doing good, Rooster. I'm fairly tired today, man. So I'm going to put a limit here just for the sake of it. My stop loss would go underneath the fair value gap low. I'm seeing that ES is taking out both sides of the board. Yeah. I mean, it could just be following, like, could just follow suit and keep going higher. Like, thank you for answering his question. Dean, do you not think the daily FEGC is option? I mean, it could be, but it's not something I'm really looking at currently. So even though we haven't created an inversion here, I'm going to lean on the idea that we're still going to want to trade through it. So I got triggered into it. I'm risking about 14 handles. It's really nothing. Potential of 45 or so. Yeah, me too, Tom, but sometimes you can't get that. And it may end up on this candle while it dipped into the fair value gap, closed above it. That creates the inversion, and then you just miss the trade. So depends on your style and your risk and what you want. I think this is a decent risk to reward. I'm willing to take the risk. It's my model. There's really no thought behind it. It just is what it is. I have the same trade as Tanya. That's cool. Just double checking. Stop loss is sell, stop. TP is sell limit. Correct, Tau. Good entry? Yeah, I see everybody saying that. Yeah, I mean, it's the reason why I usually place my limits 10 to 25%. Like, I don't really care about getting the absolute low, but it's cool. Next few minutes here, I'd really need to start seeing a displacement higher. Not a sheep, yeah. I'm on micros for my live account. See? I know people ask about that. I know if you're newer, you're probably looking at going as paper trading, but I don't have Tradeaway. I don't have like a platform I enter on TradingView. So I do paper trading so you guys can see the stop loss, take profit, all the business. You can delete your messages, I guess so. I don't really know. I want to see ES kind of follow suit and keep popping up higher. I'd much prefer in 15 seconds or so this close above it and create an inversion. That would be ideal. It's taking a lot of time in here. I mean, I'm not like impatient about it, but I'm just looking at the time, and I've talked about this before, weighing how much time you're in a trade, especially when you're in an opposing PD array. I'm trying to determine, is it really on side? But if you don't have enough experience to like exit a trade early or can an idea, I mean, just leave your stop loss. Don't touch it. Don't move it. You pay it to be there. 90% of the time, I'm doing that as well. I mean, only in a very experienced like person is going to be able to cut a trade early before you take like the full-on loss, and that's through enough evidence and through enough decision to be like, all right, yeah, it's really not on side. Usually time's a huge indication of that. Yes, I mean, the fact that we're not willing to displace higher in here, it's kind of giving me a, I don't want to say anything because I don't want to pressure anybody in or out of a trade. Just leave it. So from here, that inversion's got to be respected. Correct. Yeah, big candle is a daily. That's a nice wick away from it. If it closed inside of it, I really wouldn't be nice. And that's the reason why you pay your stop loss and just let it sit there. What's that down close candle to your right? That would be a bullish order block. Some ugly PA, huh? Dollar index is dropping lower, which is good. How long is too long? I mean, it's a good question. I don't know the exact time. I mean, still respecting the PD arrays, right? I mean, everything's still in sync. Nothing's like out of sync to where I'd be like, okay, yeah, I'm probably wrong. But I mean, in the next 5-10 minutes here, it's got to really start moving in my direction. It's hard in high resistance liquidity run signatures because it's like sometimes it just keeps returning back to your entry, keeps returning back to a PD array before lifting off, or dropping off lower. So it's hard. It's like the best advice I can give is just stay in it, man. Like, you're not risking that much. You're risking 14 handles. It's not going to be the end of your career, like unless you're over leveraging on the trade. Like, so I'm never fearful of taking a loss because I'm not over leveraging. It's not going to be the end of my career. It's one trade for 14 handles. I'm engaged once this week, so it means nothing to me. Famous quote. As far as like technicals, what would invalidate it is like closing through the mean threshold or CE of the wick or fair value gap in here. Even the inversion, if it closes through it, then you could take like a 7 handle loss instead of 14. But again, I would just leave it. You see, I'm just shifting through time frames. I'm seeing the closure, seeing how price is respecting, not respecting. All I know is I wouldn't feel comfortable with the buy side up here to be my stop loss up there. That's what I'm leaning on. Like, where's smart money going to try to offset their positions at? I would believe that they would try to offset their positions here rather than down here. I mean, I could be wrong, but if I was thinking a smart money mindset, I'd rather offset money here. Yeah, not watching your screen is best advice. If it gives you a lot of fear and anxiety, I mean, just step away from the chart. You just set it and leave it. Have an alert on your phone if it hits your take profit, hits your stop loss, and at least you're not even at the chart to make another stupid decision. You're away from it. Have you ever elected to use the 3 PD array rule? Yeah, but I mean, these are the last invalidation points for me personally. Like if we trade through the inversion and fair value gap, I mean, I'm not going to put my stop loss down here. At that point, it's probably going to trade to the sell side. So I'm not going to, incur more loss than is needed. Like this to me is the last invalidation point. If it trades through it, then obviously I'm wrong, and that's that. Which it looks like I probably am, to be honest with you. I mean, I'm just going to say it blatantly. It's not willing to displace higher. So, but I'm going to leave it because at times, obviously, you just don't know. Like that right there, it's not a good sign, obviously. But I'm going to leave it just for this stream. If I was in a live setting, I mean, I could have cut that early. Why is YM making more sense? Yeah, I don't know. So there's that. That's a 14 handle loss. So again, if you feel any type of way about that, I mean, excuse me. Because your risk reward, I mean, I've talked about this before too. It's like, if you understand, for me, I'm personally usually shooting for 40, 50, sometimes maybe 60 handles. And most of my losses, if you've seen, are about 15 to 20 handles. Like if you can consistently take that, then you know over the long run, when you take a loss, it's like, oh, well, my next trade, if I take a win, it'll be a 40, 50 handle win. And it's going to overseed it. So feel nothing. Exactly, good. And let's just say this thing tore off higher. If my idea was still still validated, then I could look to re-enter into the market. And unfortunately, you just get stopped out, and that's part of the process. I'm not going to put my stop loss at relative equal lows. That doesn't make any sense to me. The only thing that would have protected me, you could say, is waiting for a 5-minute inversion to be formed. Jesus, end of my career. Yeah. Yeah, exactly. I mean, again, if I got stopped out and this thing starts to rally, then I'm not going to be angry and upset. I'm just going to look at logically and be like, all right, well, it simply took me out of the market. And if I can logically get back into it to confirm the original idea I had, then so be it. And the most of your mistakes are all coming from emotions. And I know it's difficult. The idea is not to control your emotions. The idea is to come to a resolution to where these emotions don't spike up. I've come to the point where, obviously, when I take a loss, it's happened so many times throughout my career, but I've also seen so many times where I've taken losses, multiple losses in a row, and the following day, the following week, I end up making it all back. So it's like last week, look at last week. Wednesday, Thursday, took 2 losses back to back, then Friday, 50 handle run. So you have to keep composure. It's not the end of your career. One trade doesn't determine how good you are as an analyst. You executed on your model and what you were taught to do. That's it. I mean, what I can pull out of so far is I've engaged once so far this week inside of pretty terrible conditions. So it's a pretty damn good week for me. Like I said, if this ends up going the direction that I thought, then I'll look to re-enter with a valid logic and idea. I have constant reminders because I understand like tilting on a very deep level. If any of you are like me that have a very serious tilting issue, I completely understand it because I've dealt with extreme tilting issues, and really that comes from a overly competitive mindset. But you have to have a lot of things in place to keep you from it. If you're like me, who tilts very, very heavily, like it's like somebody pours gasoline on my head. Like I'm on fire. When I'm tilting, I'm pissed off, man, I'll do some serious damage to myself. So you have to have third-party things to kind of help you from that. I have a lot of things in front of me that help me, that I repeat to myself, especially if I am tilting. At that point, obviously, I'm telling myself, get off the charts, but it's not that easy. When you're tilting emotionally charged, telling somebody to get off the charts, I mean, they're just going to tell you to basically politely go fuck yourself. That's what I would say. But no, I'm going to be sitting here. I'm going to get my money back. So the only reason I'm saying that is because we took a loss. And I know even a small loss like this, you know, some people can just tilt their heads off. Partials every time. Partials pay 100% of the time, Tom. They never do not pay you. Right? I wanted to see when we were in the trade is if we got up to the Sibi, I wanted to take at least 2 contracts off here and then 2 at the high there. It's harder to trade with eyes watching. Yeah. I've grown so accustomed to it now that, like, it's going to be weird when I trade alone, to be honest with you. They said, I mean, my younger self, if I got stopped out and I saw a price doing this, I do find it interesting. I mean, people are going to find this out there, a very weird thing. I do find it interesting. I mean, how many of you are on here? I don't know. I haven't checked. 500, 600. I do find it interesting that I placed my stop loss here. And I'm sure Tanya did the same thing. So think about how many people are watching her and me. How many how many stop losses are sitting right at that low? I mean, it's an out there thing to say. I'm not going to make an excuse for getting stopped out, of course, but I just think about it for a second, that's all. I mean, me and Tanya, that's a lot of stop losses. That's a lot of money. I mean, yes, I'm not advocating for that idea. I do find it interesting. That's all. You placed your stop loss. Yeah, I mean, again, wherever I place my stop loss or my entry, people are always going to have criticism. I should have done this, should have done that, but I don't need your advice personally. Turkish, yeah, exactly. I mean, just calm yourself, man. When you get super tilted, you're in a tunnel vision mindset. As you're so focused on this trade, you're so focused on this session, you have to pull yourself out of it. And remember, man, like there's not only tomorrow, there's next week, there's the next month, there's the next 6 months, the next year. Like you're not going to be able to make all your money back and be, you know, this successful trader in this one session. So I knew that would get so many comments in here. Yeah, like I said, I'm not advocating for it. I'm not making an excuse. I'm drawing just a simple statement. I don't even know where any of you are seeing this volume imbalance. Like again, if I don't need personal advice on where I should put in my stop loss. So the original idea is still valid, right? So if I can find something that would allow me to enter into the market, then I would do so. If not, then I have to let the trade idea run without me. What am I going to do? I'm going to emotionally just get into this trade with no no idea, no criteria to get into it. I'm just going to emotionally get into it because I was right, and then price stopped me out. You know, fuck the market. It's against me. Like that is a beginner mindset trading. That is suspicious, Nico. Oh shit, I still have a limit up here. Why don't I short when the market is clearly bearish? Because I don't have that opinion on the market. That's your opinion, that you think the market is bearish. I don't have that opinion. Accidental, I saw you saw, say the S&P at the highs. Yeah, I believe that. At that point, it's not, I mean, it is S&P currently, but I believe that NQ would probably want to follow suit with it. At least that would be my belief when I'm looking at it. Was that a trendline phantom long on the 1 minute? Well, trendline phantom is just the idea of liquidity. But yeah, if you're looking at what trendline traders would look at, it's a trendline long. To be honest with you, I'm not really looking at anything. The delivery is pretty sloppy in here. Again, I'm not in a rush to chase back. Because here's the idea, when you try to chase back a loss, it's like you're in your mind, you believe that there's no way that you could lose the next one. I know very well that I could get into a trade right here and lose again, without a doubt in my mind. I'm such on the idea that I'm one step away from screwing everything I've worked up for versus I'm one step away from being a millionaire and being profitable. Like I'm always one step away from screwing everything up. I'm very careful and very tedious about everything I do. Most of you think that you're you're one trade away from being a millionaire. I'm one step away from being an idiot. Especially after loss, I have to be very careful with what I'm doing, picking my shots, making sure I'm not emotionally getting into a trade. Is this logically a part of my model? If it doesn't print my model and it still draws to exactly where I thought it was, then, I mean, what can you do? There's going to be another trade tomorrow. There's going to be another trade the next day. The market's still going to be open. It's not the end of my life. What do you think about quarter theory? I personally have used it on Forex. It's cool. Yeah, Tom Dante has a really good post on Twitter about. It has some vulgar language, so I'm not gonna say it, but it's a really good tweet about one step away. Damn it, accidental. He's living in Tanya's streams, yeah. I think he hates me. No, I think that he probably doesn't look at YouTube recommended. He probably just goes to Tanya's streams and that's it. I have nothing against it. Why do I keep getting questions over Dane? I mean, I don't know. I don't trust anybody that doesn't live trade. I'll just say it blatantly there. Like if you're so good, you're so popular, why are you not live trading? I don't get it. Because then you'd see somebody like him that you think is a god take a loss, and you'd be like, holy shit, man. Wow. Like, you know, people take losses, right? Like, it's normal. Ali can again. I don't care about the social media influencer world. Like, dude, to be honest with you, I want to do this and I want to step away from social media. At one point, I want to delete my YouTube. I want to delete my Twitter. Like, I want to be in peace. But it's not the stage I'm at currently. Yeah, exactly, Rissa. What are we at in terms of time? I mean, we still have about 20 minutes left or so. I mean, I'm still electing to believe. I mean, that buy side, that's such a clean level. But is there anything in here that would probe me to go long? No. I don't have my entry pattern here. I don't have my multiplier. Only thing is we came down on this inversion there. But emotionally, I'm being careful because I'm not trying to emotionally get into this. I'm trying to look for my entry pattern. I'm trying to look for, is there something with logic that can get me back into this market? If not, then I have to sit on the sidelines. I have to exercise my discipline. Like, if I just re-entered into the market just because I was wrong on the idea, or I got stopped out, but the idea was still valid, I mean, that's me breaking discipline. I can't just get into the market because my emotions told me to. Like, I have to look at this logically and be like, all right, well, there's nothing in here that's going to tell me to get into the market again, so I have to wait. And if nothing prints, nothing gets me into the market, then it is what it is. I can't change that. Like, if you get into the market after this, like if you just saw me get stopped out and I re-entered right away again, I mean, what type of analyst is that? What type of trader is that? That's an emotionally charged, filled analyst. Yeah, I mean, I'll leave my YouTube or whatever, but I mean, I'm just saying I'll leave. Like, I'm just not gonna be posting or anything at one point. What would you say caused price to reverse in there? I mean, this bullish order block there. Hold on, I gotta let my dog in. Sometimes you just get stopped out. I mean, there's no. I made a short about this yesterday. Like, sometimes you just can't prevent losses. There's nothing in your power over time that you're going to be able to prevent a loss. Like, it's just simply something you're going to have to eat. Yes, it is. ES is made the higher high. NQ is lagging behind it. I mean, if we were to trade ES today, let me look at it. It still would have probably been stopped out on it. Interesting. Maybe not if the 5-minute fair value gap, but ES is the stronger. So sometimes if you're trading the stronger asset class, it's a little bit easier, obviously, if you're in the long position versus the weaker one. Sugar Hill, it's not needed, man. I don't care what anybody else is doing. TJ, you just had a bad stop. Okay, thank you for the advice. I don't think some people understand. Like, imagine if I just went to your room while you took a trade and you had to stop out, and I just said, you had a bad stop loss, you had a stupid trade, you're an idiot. Like, how would that make you feel, man? Like, for some of you who don't have any consciousness, I swear. Spencer, what'd you ask? Yeah, Spencer. Like, it's fine, man. There's nothing sometimes you can do or change. Like, I'm not emotionally charged. Like, a lot of you are so emotionally charged of that trade. I can't understand it. Do you see me freaking out? No. AJ, good question. Yeah, I was gonna consider taking out a partial at the premium inefficiency here, at least half the contract size, or at least one contract. I mean, that was still from there. If we got up into it, 20, 25 handles or so. That's a good place to take partials because this place could act as a place where price could reverse, and at least you're paying yourself. If you can hold on to the whole position to the buy side, that's also a good idea. Why not look for an entry on that 5 minutes since it's cleaner than the 1 minute? I just don't particularly love entering off of just solely an inversion, especially after taking a loss and with the delivery price. I'm okay just not taking that trade. It's fine. I'm not going to let a 14 handle loss emotionally charge me to where I tailspin and I end up losing 30, 40, 50 handles on the day. Like, some of you take like a 10, 15 handle loss and you let that little minor paper cut turn into a major cut. Like, you just have to stop the bleeding immediately, which is chill out. It's not that big of a deal, man. Like, I can't emphasize it enough. I think some people think I'm kidding when like I actually don't care, but I don't. It's the same thing as I react the exact same way when I take a loss and when I take a win. I mean, go through my videos. When I take a loss, I react the exact same way. When I take a win, you see me basically saying nothing. I don't care. It's just business. It's a transaction. I wouldn't particularly be fond of shorting today because of the buy side that's above us. I don't have that bias, so if it fell off of it, I really wouldn't care. AJ, yeah. I mean, we're all competitive. It's a good trait to have, but it can also be a blessing and a curse because the blessing is you're super competitive to where you want to work extremely hard and a lot harder than majority of people. But the flip side in trading is I can't be overly competitive with the market. I'm not competing with the market. I'm competing with myself. So flip the viewpoint is like, I'm competing with myself. I'm competing with my emotions, the flaws, the demons I have within myself. I'm right now, even like I'm doing a good job, in my opinion, in my book. I'm competing with myself because I'm not allowing myself, I'm putting myself on a leash. I'm not allowing myself to be emotionally invested to get back into the market after a stop out, even though it's moving in my direction. I'm waiting for a clear indication for me to get back in the market. If it doesn't print, that's my line in the sand. I'm drawing the line in the sand saying I'm staying here. If it does not meet me to where I want it, then I don't do anything, regardless of what just happened. The market doesn't know I got stopped out. It has no idea. It doesn't care what happens to me. Big rollout. Appreciate that. I saw your comment yesterday on one of the videos. I appreciate it. Yeah. Thank you, Rista. I mean, again, I don't even need that self encouragement. Also, thanks for talking on going on tilt. Yeah, I mean, I could definitely do a video over tilt. It's just such a, everybody has their own different levels of tilt. If you're like me, I mean, if I'm on a really bad day where in the past where, you know, I went on really bad tilt, I mean, you wouldn't want to be around me in person. If you said one wrong thing, I'd punch you in the face. Or I'd at least want to. Evelyn, I appreciate that. Yeah, train to be cold-blooded, stoicism. I think trading most definitely, throughout the years, I mean, I've become a lot less emotionally charged even in personal life, and patience and discipline. I mean, it teaches you so many things outside of trading. I appreciate it, Rissa. Yeah, thank you. Well, what did ICT do? Did you short it? Yeah, everybody should study stoicism, especially as a man. I mean, it's not being sexist. It's just the truth that women are, for the most part, a little bit more emotional. I mean, as a man, I definitely think you should be a lot more stoic, and especially if you have a family, people that rely on you, you can't be the one freaking out, you know, running all over the place, especially in like a major event. Like, you want to be the person, especially if there's whatever it is, car crash, major event, shooting. You don't want to be the person just screaming their head off, running around. You want to be the person very calm, collected, not emotionally charged. You're looking at the options logically. It's the same thing as trading. That's the reason I'm talking about it, because in the midst of chaos, in the midst of, you know, frantic things that are happening, you want to be sitting there as the one stoic, looking at the options, looking at the, you know, the chessboard and going, all right, what's the most logical, best move I can make right now? Not based off of my emotions, based off the chessboard. It's the same thing as trading. Like right now, got stopped out on the run. It's going in my direction, but logically, what's the best decision I can make? Well, I'm going to wait, see if something can print in my favor. If it doesn't, then I did the right job. Because if it ends up running lower, then I did the correct thing by staying out of the market and not re-entering. Will I get banned if I say told you? No. I just don't. Again, man, I don't think people think about this like it's easy to sit on the other side, and but what happens if all the times that I was in a trade and I won against your bias, I sat in your room right behind you. I said, "Told you." I mean, that's the most idiotic statement I've ever heard. Hey, actually, I'm chilling, bro. I mean, maybe if I sound like I'm mad, I'm not mad. What's your approach to taking partials? Set approach every time, or depends? Yeah, it just depends. I mean, typically, if I have a target, I'll take partials off at halfway. If I'm very confident in the idea, then I won't really take partials. I'll just let it fully go to it. Depends on the speed of the delivery of price, deep of retracements, etc. It's all unique. All right, Kai. Thank you. Have a good rest of your day. Sound hella chill. Yeah, I mean, I am. Got a Zen in. I'm chilling. Yeah, even if we were in a long, I mean, this would be a lot of mental capital being spent just sitting in this. I'm actually happy to be out of the position. I'm not anxious. I'm not worried. I'm just chilling. Favor, I mean, through time and experience, you'll get to that point. I'm not always 100% super chilling, but you have to look at it. If you followed your rules and everything that's in place for you, I mean, what else can you do? Peppermint, for those wondering. What's the reasoning behind the trade? Well, we dropped off lower, taking out sell side, bullish SMT. Even though ES is moving higher, I'm believing that this is the sixth sister. It's going to want to get in line with it. We got above an old SIBI, dropped down into the fair value gap here. Clean level of buy side from the open. So I'm keying off the idea smart money is going to want to offset any position up here, right? Nicotine actually has some really good cognitive, trying to find the word, but it doesn't enhance your cognitive focus, and it does have some good benefits. But overall, I mean, I wouldn't recommend it. Ever rewatch your streams? Yeah, I'll rewatch them from time to time, especially if I take a loss. Like, I'll go back in the stream and I'll see, like, maybe if I was unfocused, I was talking to chat, and if I was doing something that I shouldn't have, you know, just looking at something, I'll go back and try to make an improvement. But even today, I don't. I would have taken this trade in a setting by myself. I would have taken the trade with you guys. How would you trade ES? I'd trade ES the same way I would trade NQ. As a full-time student, I mean, you just have to make time for it. It's a good question. Do I journal my trades every day, even if I don't take entries? I used to, and I definitely recommend it, but not so much anymore. Especially like the last 2 days, where I understood I wasn't going to be taking a trade. I understood the conditions of it. And most of my live streams and daily logs, I mean, it's a journal in and of itself, so I don't feel the need to journal those type of dates. But at a loss or something like today, then yeah, I'm going to go into my journal and just annotate it. And nothing much really to say. I wouldn't have changed anything. So we're inside of that macro. It just hit the 11 o'clock hour. So 1 hour candle just opened. TCM, thanks, brother. Appreciate it. So there's the buy side tagged. Do I feel any type of way about it? Nope. So, I mean, we're at basically the end of the silver bullet. I mean, if we can have follow through in here, it depends. What up, Wazy? Good to see you, brother. Cheer Tom, thank you. Have a good rest of your day. If we drop down into here, I may elect to go long again, because if we have the follow through to where I believe price could continue higher, it's fine too. It's not me chasing price. Look at my position size. What is it? Half of what we were looking for, or what we originally entered in. It's important. So I'm just going to place my take profit up here. I don't know how high price would want to go if it reaches into this, but I at least know this level would want to be tagged. Yeah, and this is where, like what we talked about at the beginning of the stream, is like being right or wrong doesn't equal probability. I was right on the analysis and where price should go, but I was still stopped out. So being right or wrong, I don't put a lot of emphasis behind it. Nico, thank you, brother. When it reaches this buy side before digging into this fair value gap, then I'd be done. That I'm not sure, Nico. I think it depends on your broker and the one you're using. Would you be weary if price takes a lot of time to retrace in the entry? Not necessarily. Yeah, it was Wazy. Everything panned out to what I was expecting. Just, I mean, like look at where I got stopped out, and then look at where price reverted from. So it's gonna happen. I mean, looking at the 5-minute, yes, I could have re-entered off of the inversion, but it's not my particular style. There was like an inefficiency in here, like a nice fair value gap, I would have elected to maybe re-enter. Yesterday's. It's interesting. Not necessarily, no. The reason for that is I'd rather leave a portion of the inefficiency open than have a full-on retracement and do a discount. Yeah, so I don't even think it's going to reach into the limit. If it does, that's cool, but yeah, RTH gap as well. Oh, jeez almighty. Could look to fill in 50% or even more than that. Oh, hey, that's actually kind of cool. I actually don't mind this. Let me know how that looks on the stream. It's a little bit better. Is it against my rules? I mean, it depends on the situation. If AM's been really sloppy, not a lot of delivery, and I still believe that there's meat on the bone, you could say, left of the day or left of the session. Particularly, I want to be done before lunch. That's, particularly what I'd want. I normally enter out the 5-minute. Yeah, order blocks are really not my entry pattern. It's not my multiplier, so I keep consistent with what I look for. So a 5-minute fair value gap should form in here as well. We may just IOFED it and it may leave. So, I mean, I gotta exit out of this. There we go. I'm actually on Twitter right now. I'm not even really looking at the chart or the chat, if you're wondering. So I'm in on my live account. We'll just see where it goes. If it doesn't tag the paper trading, I mean, whatever. Thank you, Tal. All right, Bishop. Have a good rest of your day. Yeah, it's also. Yeah, it's a 13 handle stop loss with half the risk. So. Akbar, have a good rest of your day. Yeah, thank you for that. Yeah, bullish breaker here. See, sometimes you're not even paying attention. All right, Nico. Peace out, brother. Yeah, Gilbert. I mean, I just didn't particularly want to place my stop loss underneath the sell side. I believe if price was going to get underneath that, I was going to run for the sell side. So I don't want to incur more loss than's really is needed. And again, you can sit in hindsight and beat yourself up and be like, I should have done this, that. I followed my rules and what I was supposed to do. I mean, that's all you can really say and do. It's not on paper trading. I have it on a live account. Rodrigo, all right, brother. Have the rest of your day. They still do a year old, really? At least the new week opening gap is 20 handles above the buy side, basically. Exactly, Will. Muhammad, there's different criteria for it. Just depends. I mean, more or less experience is going to teach you that. Shay, all right. I'll see you later. I'm not going to give you any advice on that question. You shouldn't even be taking trades alongside me. It's just simply that, like, none of this is financial advice. It's simply me going out here and just showing what I can do. And if you so happen to be in the same trade, I mean, that's just a coincidence, right? I'd take one partial off there if it gets to it. So I'm going to let, oh, I just want to get above the buy side at least. So, I mean, there's one partial taken off. You can place it to stop, to break even if you would like. That's 20 handles. I mean, that's basically back the loss that was taken. So there was a comment earlier, I haven't really talked about it. It kind of just irked me, to be completely honest with you. I haven't talked about it, which I'm not going to talk about it, but if you saw it, I mean, it's such an idiotic statement. Like I said, did you see me emotionally charged to get into the trade? No, this is my model. I have to wait for it. Even though we were stopped out, I was able to get back into the position and logically get back into it with my rules and everything that is set out for me. If I just entered into price without my rules or my model, that would be me chasing price and breaking discipline and breaking my rules. I'm very happy and proud of myself. I just waited for this. I mean, that's the best feeling in the world. And I'm proud to do that. I would feel dirty if I just entered in a price and randomly got into it, but you know. No, his name was TCM. He said the stupidest thing in the world, dude. If you're still here, TCM, eat it. Like, again, people are gonna judge you off of like what, like, if you come here for 2 sessions and you judge me, I mean, that's such a skewed vision. If you weren't here for the last 2 months, I mean, I don't, whatever. TCM is a certified geek. I picture those people being fat, disgusting blobs of shit. Sorry, yeah. Like, I saw this person in real life. Would never say that to me. As I know most people don't get emotionally charged. I mean, again, it's quite difficult at times. Like, you're not on this end. Yeah, again, relax. It's like, I'm not mad. It's just, Again, it's just an annoying thing. I mean, most of you have never dealt with public criticism, even live trading. Like, you all would get 10 times more tilted and mad about just stupid little comments. My targets are up here because I want to see if we can reach into that higher inefficiency and price. I mean, you could fully collapse the trade if you'd like. It's whatever, up to you. I mean, that's 20 handles back the loss that, you incurred anyways, so. AJ, all right. The only reason, I mean, again, this is the last thing I'm going to mention of it, but I'll read it, just so you all are aware of, like, what I'm talking about. Brother, I watched your stream all week. You have been plan A, plan B, scared to take a trade, yet you're saying you're ready to charge people. You're a joke, my guy. So, the reason I'm bringing that up is because I want you all to understand that you understand why we were not taking trades yesterday, right? And the day before. Like, those are very low probability days. It wasn't me being plan A or plan B. It's simply me being sidelines, protecting my capital, my mental capital, inside of days where I just don't find it favorable. And then in a day like today where I can see, my entry patterns forming, I can see, a clear draw on liquidity, I'm willing to enter into it. I mean, if this happened to be a beautiful trade, like, it all played out, I mean, this would have been beautiful. But I can't change that. Only thing I could do is readjust, try to get back into the market and with logic. Yeah, I know. And again, it's difficult to, I try my absolute best not to get triggered by it. But again, I'm human, man. Truthfully, I'm a human. Like, I get mad and upset over certain things that just like you all do as well. I'm not a robot. Like, Lucas, what's up? Where's your question? CJ, if your entry wasn't retraced into a reasonable time, would you leave your order still there? No. Like, if it went all the way, like, let's say it's still, like, didn't even reach into it, I mean, I probably would have canned it and just moved on. Exactly, sheep. Yeah, nobody better than you is going to talk down to you. I agree. Exactly, Rooster. But here I want to see, does this support price? I'm comfortable leaving it as a runner. I still think that price is willing to go higher today, and if not, we took a partial, paid ourselves, stops our break even. So reached up into this 4-hour inefficiency as well, so you have to annotate that on the bear side. Well, if you're bullish, you should move through it or trade through it. 1 hour little inefficiency there. Thank you, Tom. Yeah, I don't think people realize that. I mean, it is a skill set to be able to just handle stupid comments like that. It's not easy, man. Yeah, exactly, Lazy. I mean, most people, if they saw me go off on somebody, they'd be like, "Man, you're emotionally charged." Like, no, some people deserve that, man. Some people deserve to get their ass chewed out because you can't just let people do that in life. Like, Twitter, or not Twitter, internet has allowed people to say shit without any consequence. Like, if you said that to me in real life, I'd punch you square in your face. And then you'd be like, "Oh, I shouldn't say that to somebody." Like, yeah, exactly. Anyways, yeah, I want to see if we can propel through the high here, and this inefficiency is the last, point of interest. This should hold price, right? That's the parent inefficiency. It's alright, Bagel. We're done with the conversation. I'm gonna drop it. Memory, yeah, I don't know the exact date, but I mean, that's one of the reasons I would like to go private. I mean, the real ones that have been here, you know what I can do. I don't need to sit here and cater to people. What makes today more probable? Well, we weren't inside of a range. Like yesterday, we were inside of a range with buy side and sell side on both sides. Higher time frame was a little bit cleaner today. See, we took out sell side, clean levels of buy side above us, rally towards that. So, I mean, I have a moderator for it, but I'm more for free speech and stuff. If they want to say whatever, I mean, it's fine. Like, I'm not just gonna ban people all the time. It's just kind of useless. That's a decent question, Mantis. I mean, sometimes if the price is extremely bullish, it's not going to have the power of 3 where it sets the low. It's just going to immediately expand and rip higher. Tom, the session has been very valuable. Difficult at first taking a loss and recovering the loss plus some. Yeah, I mean, again, how valuable is this? Like, it's such a valuable lesson. You didn't see me chase price. I didn't go back into the market after I took a loss and then price rallied to where exactly we thought. You didn't see me do that frantically, emotionally. I just stayed calm, collected, composure. All right, let's wait for my model. If it doesn't form, I don't do anything. I sit still. Like, after you take a loss, you have to remind yourself, there's always going to be another trade. Your model still works. It's not broken. You're not broken. It's like an exact, beautiful example of it. Awesome trade management. Love the comps to re-enter. Thank you. I haven't been here, but for 2 days it's obvious you know what you're doing. I appreciate you. Trading yesterday has been here helpful. Awesome, man. Thank you. I appreciate it. Yeah, thank you, Tom. I believe so as well. Tuco. Did I miss something? Arnold, I appreciate that. Awesome seeing OG in here. Hope you're doing well. That's a great quote. Some days you're the windshield, some days you're the bug. That's beautiful. I see the SMT. Yeah, I see how ES hasn't gotten above it. Let's see. So I want to see in here. I mean, I'm not throwing away the idea. I'm not just going to be fearful of just because we're inside of the civvy. But I would like to see a rip higher. I mean, it's at no cost, no fear. Stops break even, took a partial, so I'm willing to sit it out. If things start breaking down, not willing to place higher, then I'll just take the rest of the money off the table. Are you open to get a bit help to improve your entry to stop point, CJ? No, I'm good, man. I think I'm good. I think I'm okay. Let's see how many. I haven't even checked. I'm sure a little bit more views. No, normal. Thank you, Dizon. I appreciate it. Yeah, I mean, I'll only carry it through probably, if anything, the macro into lunch, and that's going to be it. And I just want to see if we can squeeze a little bit more out of it. Preferably get above the buy side here. How do I know that it's not going to go to the low FEG near OB? If price is in a hurry to get somewhere, I'm only expecting basically an IOFED or a small puncture into the fair value gap and leave the rest as a breakaway gap. If it's in a hurry to get somewhere, then I'm anticipating a breakaway gap. I'm not anticipating a full retracement. Lucas, all right, brother. Have a good rest of your day. Yeah, of course. I mean, if we get above this 5-minute SIBI, it would probably be easy to say we're gonna actually travel really high. But for the sake of the stream and being on here, I'd just take out the position. I don't want to be on here longer than it really needs to be. Yeah, it's pretty boring PA. I mean, that's why we take partials. They pay 100% of the time. They protect your mental capital. I'm not stressing over it. I'm not, freaking out if price is going to retrace or not. I mean, 75% of my position on my live account's been taken out. But, I mean, I only had 2 contracts here, so I could only take out half. Otherwise, I'd take off 75, and that'd be that. Tom, I literally just had something in my head. I was about to say something to you. Now it was off of a question. Oh, that's exactly what I just stated. Partials pay 100% of the time, so hopefully you do see that. Like, again, I'm always taking partials. It's the easiest way to protect yourself and your mental capital. If I was in a full position, I was trying to long this, I mean, I'd be very, emotionally charged. I'd be, come on, go, 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 but I'm not, because I paid myself. One quote ICT's always said is pay the trader, pay the trader, pay the trader. So that rings in my head all the time when I'm in a trade. It's just pay yourself, pay yourself. You did the work to get into it. You've been in the work to stay in the position, so you may as well pay yourself. Give yourself a little commission. Like, I could roll up my stop in here, but I don't want to roll it up too close to where if we have a retracement, it could stop me out at break even at rallies. So if this gets above the buy side, then I'm going to move it because that's the last point of interest, that 5-minute in here. Should want to get up above it. Looking at it, I mean, I'm going to roll it to here just because the stream is getting a bit long. All right, Tal. Have a good rest of your day. I'll see you later. Yeah, I trade more aggressive in a challenge account. I've talked about it because you don't want to spend a whole bunch of time on a challenge account, but that's only if you know what you're doing. I mean, you can only trade aggressive in a challenge account and then go into a live account and just be, chilled out. Take another partial off there. I'm just going to can it here. I'm not going to sit on a live stream longer. I still have a position on my live account. So hopefully you guys are able to learn something. Again, listen to my voice and what I'm saying. Like compare the two. When I win and I lose, it's the same exact emotion. I'm not excited. I'm not saying W's in the chat. Let's go. Not that, you know, I'm in a collapse position. Like it's the same thing because it's just a transaction. This didn't change my life, nor did taking a loss change my life. So what is there to be super excited about? Tom, that's hilarious. Hopefully you guys were able to learn something today. I think it was really useful. Hopefully you're able to learn how taking a loss and price still goes your direction, how you're able to re-enter into the market. You're not fearful, you're not upset. You logically look at the market, say, okay, how do I get back into this market? If it doesn't print my entry pattern, I don't do anything. You didn't see me go in here because none of this was my entry pattern. Even though I knew the draw should be the buy side liquidity there just wasn't anything for me to get into the market. I wasn't upset when price rallied to exactly where we thought. I just waited. This was still valid. I still believed price could still keep rallying higher, so I re-entered in the market with logic, reasoning, not emotions. I got exactly the entry I wanted. Look at the entry. I mean, it was at the very basically low of that run. I mean, it was beautiful. Couldn't have asked for anything better. So, hope you guys are able to learn. Again, if you're here for signals, again, it's not the place for you. Even though it's a win, I'm not here for signals. I'm here to teach. You need to be learning what I'm doing in here. It's a very useful learning session day. I mean, there's so many gems in here that you could have got out of it. So I hope you guys enjoyed. I will be live tomorrow. Same thing, same time, per usual. Till then, good luck and good trading, everybody.